Isaan rasakna maramanarok tinriketi. Bolo binakan ng turang tisuba. Nisam bolo binakan na turang bale. Nonto biponua eno nonto viti nitikorao. Bolo binakan talangano nonto marama. Good morning to ladies and gentlemen that are from outside. It is an honor to be here with you today, to share with you some ideas learned over the last 30 years of trying to instigate change in our beautiful Fiji, in the beautiful Pacific, and most importantly, in the only piece of the world that is mine. So the last 30 years I spent at the University of the South Pacific. I've mostly focused on doing research in Ngau, and then use the lessons from there to share with whoever wants to know within Fiji, as well as the Pacific, and into the wider world. But as you all know, times today are hard. I took early retirement to go and try and complete this work before I'm called to go to where we all end up. So bear with me as I try and take you through this. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Okay, the challenge, by the way, sorry, the slides are in English because I am hoping that you would allow me to address parts of our crowd that may not be conversant well enough in English. So the challenge is for us to create a world where we can all live dignified lives and at the same time have an environment that continues to be healthy and vibrant in order to support all of us today and our future generations in time to come. Kaya munisa ka na nung taturangan na marama. O kaya na itamba ni kuwa, doon na itabilebu. Pinakatiti ko pa, menda tura mo kang bimbisar. Pinakati, nanonda biti ko tiko toto kasara pa turanga pa marama, nanonda panua. Mera bula, marau, rawatan non rambula pa kadengu, na leo ni panua, iya me maro roiti ko nga, kwa na isuli-suli ni kalaumbula, hindi suli atu na nanonda vindela ni apu. Ngona kambimbi, menda vaka sa matakatiko, ni nonon robei mataka na naluwenda ki na makumbunda na siyang mandangani siya kila. O kendang ko, nda sa pakatulawati ko kina. Kenda to satu ko na misa musu na kau ya siyang bula may roto na tukan da to baka vida sa Raelian. Kenda to sabi na kata misa keli na nondo to ngere-ngere ya halako tu ano doon ngunong balaw. Sangkay nondo to ngunong ko to sana. Pakatulawa misa pakay nga tayo kina. Me abutaki na baka tulawa ya baka mataw. Kwa nga ya na kere-kere. The presentation today is after 30 years of research, mostly around Fiji and of course Ngau, where I happen to be from. I've decided to be very bold and propose to you a code of conduct, a series of principles, concepts, and values that I hope can help us negotiate our way into the future, challenging as it is already. Nasasanga Mindanao kabang isang ni karorao. Ito sa napakilatu na to wala mo baritak. So nga na ibakarita kilala isara ni lenga sa atiku. Kireki naman ni nangay baka tarungyaw ka baka isang ni matata na kautuko na balata na biti kinonggor. Nanungguyan yan na kalimani anu le viviti. Ia ko ambon to na hotspot. It's a biological hotspot. Lebu beki mami si sangani bayado mai na vivo no ratungori. A lot of us have never been to some of those places, but that's the cultural heritage that we inherited from our ancestors. And it is up to us to decide on the kind of heritage we share with our children. Obia kerenga moninga reda toko kana na itamba toko imboto na ira. Dona veivi. Na udhua ya endavitu me baka na rokana ni reda toka endavitu na wai. Ia sanga ngani sivita na vono aro toka kina na vivia. Aunque vakile iau, mongo ikila o deo iau nu sa dona me sa tiko baka sam. Sa toka na vivia. Se tiko ngani kua. Mar lakawato ka na vakatak. The same thing that Professor Kabini mentioned yesterday, the paddle. It was designed to do that kind of work. I'm talking about the last picture on the bottom end, that side. The EV trees, riverine trees. The EV nga anda marutatungo nandukanya ni ngone matuakina. Yokwando na kaubinaka, it's a good riverine tree. It protects the river. It has been like that since I grew up to know who I am. It has been like that. I'm about to die soon. It is still there. Okay? But the point I'm trying to get at it is that in a lot of the places that we see around today, those kinds of vegetative cover are already gone. Okay? In terms of some nice pictures, my relatives from Taviuni always tell Fiji and the world that Tangimaudia is only with them. Well, that's in the forests of Ngau. A lot of Ngauans have never seen it. But according to the scientists, they are from the same family. We took the more angelic color. Those orchids have never been seen by most of the ladies in the island because it remains up in the forest. Like I said, we ranganan daw bandindi kaya rangaliko tamay na itambango. Nakadaw ni ngau, yan nanunggu manuman. We Fijians have totems. Every Fijian should know their plant, their fish, and their bird. Kadau Ningau, Fiji petrel, is our totemic bird. Dona expedition ang ito ba alilay na nung presentation ni Muri, erto lekele may ngau na vita na Madaw South, matalaw na kipapalang ina angalo bata kina vai, koraka lolo ito kaya. Ke vatu ya na viti ndarungay biuta, tatong biuta, mengay nonra na talangana luwenta, ay sana mati na pagdating. We talk about rural development. Anda wala tali ni ndayalian yung kanta na itambango, siya tiko nga na vitalano ni rural development. Paleta nga ni siya nga niya dobi kanta kaya desara na nonda vei tutuni ponuo viti na viva katorda kitaki. Mana tiga buni nga una, kaya nakiminta sabi sa taka, modernization, visaw, kung nakamakawa baka viti misambiu, datawra na ya kapapalang. Yesterday we were talking about the role of education in weakening our understanding of the significance of our traditional knowledge and practices. It's part of that journey. When modernization did not work fast enough to achieve the goals that it was set out to achieve, we went for integrated rural development. Coordinated approaches to address rural poverty and related problems. Nanguna takat ko kinakuha na vivator tagtaki ame baboy minda satura na ngauni salabu baka sivil balang ang keluray ni sa libunan rabu ay baka bitunga weekend ay nanonda vivo no baka nonda vi kor baka viti non de viti ko baka viti. We so tale new model, new strategy, needs-based management. Me sa sangai mandanga me laurai na kaya vinakatana tamata me sangai me sotavi. O kila ni nantua pataki au sa ninda si sotavi tingaya. We so tale na target. So the target seems to be shifting. Something has been malfunctioning. Is it the approach? And I'd like you to think seriously about that. So today, started around the 1990s, the word sustainable development came. Although nungu interpretation to ni sustainable development, me Vakatabu Vakataki yalo matua. Sini Vakatabu Vakataki ngā me kawabu na vale, men te tiko bilo mani Vakatabu me mbulambula tuna nonda waitui, mbulambula na wain ranu, ra tuna kambula, kwa rabi vugetu ena kiana tarai, kwa na pura in the rumbo, vinakata men the rumbula kina. Let me remind you, in some places around the world today, they have difficulty finding water. Water is more expensive than alcohol in some countries of the world. At one time, I used to tell people and they never believe. Today, they are believing. Why? Well, I haven't seen any Fiji water here, but we now don't trust even the water from the tap for drinking. We are relying on the bottled water because that's specifically prepared, in our view, for drinking. So sustainable development has been around for a while and still we have the same problem as in the past. Singa tunga ni se rawa ni wakamatana taki. Se me wakandinin taki, ni saya don dinetiku. So we've gone to some other additions to sustainable development. Ecosystem-based management, we have to look after the ecosystem. And the ecosystem, we likina na veikake de tumai nandela ni wanua, wakakina na wai, watakina lo malang. Na ngele ki na wai, watakina karatu irukuna. Singa telengani si rao pa binaka na kenaya, both sustainable development goals have not been achieved. We've now gone to add ecosystem-based management, and then blue-green growth seems to be the goal today. Ngai wata wiki muni kumdo nanu gu matangali, ndo toka libu mdo ngeli sana toka na green growth ndo sanga. Taka na biba torta taki alumatua, me rao na ka bagai lavo, ye me mbula bina katale tunga na vika mbula politikanda, me rao ni na toso tiko ngana vio kainingo kakundo na ngauna lei dangu tukina. Kito na toko mai via nuanu, we have a lot more water around us. Maybe we should go for blue growth. Endo ngangori na itamba na ibandinila ni kautukuna tiko. That's a crossing, iris crossing. Ya usang mandanito raba binakana uliuli. Vesibito kada rusang bulumbakan na about 20 communities in Fiji are earmarked for relocation. I'm sad to say, some of them, in my view, are now at that stage because of things like this. Technology that came from the 1950s or even earlier, that is still being used. Here is a river that big or that wide, and then they pile over the dirt on both the sides, narrowing it, and then put in the culverts. Yeah? So all of that water that's supposed to go through this channel, forced to go through those holes that we've created in order to allow us to go dry foot on top. But eventually, like in this case, the ends fall off after big floods. And in some cases, they act like dams during floods when all the debris come from upstream, they block the holes, the little holes. It acts like a dam. One of the villages that I'll show you from now is in that list, and their problem is flooding because of this kind of structure. I hope those that have some influence with leadership, can negotiate with our government that maybe the idea of iris crossing should now be revised for Fiji or South Pacific version of crossings. So as a result of all these development strategies, activities that we've been asked to follow, there are now threats. And we now have to live with this threat, or this threat, sorry. This is, in the photo is the village in Lekanai that is earmarked for relocation. The problem with them, if you look closely, maybe it's not very clear because this is a picture from the air, I want to run over there and point at the thing, but the inlet that is going there is part of the river mouth. Nangusinu ay kwa lako taga niya na sani tambay sana matao. Kwa napuno to kinanapali lutuyakir na koro indo to nga nandelana. Nanguna sandaw tao kinanaway nanguna niwa walu bu inawabu ngai zawiri ta ketal nawai wabu kita tali na koro ngai lili sumay sa nanduang. Ngai durumay ni na koro may na sana andua. That's the problem with this village. As a result of the iris crossing, that's part of the road, they now have to swim sometimes when the flood comes in with debris, blocks the iris crossing passages, the water backs up and then accumulates in sufficient amount to flow right around the knoll on which the village stands and then come through the village from the opposite side. So I think we deserve some better designs for our rural roads. Yes, Ngau is a beautiful place, as I had shown you earlier, but there are threats. This picture on my side, this can you see the river and all the stones, because those ivy trees that used to be there are gone. I'll show you pictures later, but this is part of the land I've leased. I've leased about 50 hectares because I want to develop a demonstration center on this part of the land with degraded parts of the environment, some native forests that are still there. I want to be the governor in that space. So I've taken early retirement in order to do that. This picture in the middle with my friends from the university and some villages, they are sitting on a pile of gravel and rocks, drinking watermelon or eating watermelon. The deposit has just been made a week or so before we arrived. That place used to be somebody's swamp taro land. Nalenga ngona ni maititi wanta mi panga takan onda budi ka kai bola ka tuina vi uduai sa senga tubango na kena tango e tatango maki. Ngona lo mekina na wai ko tawata mekina no na idola dola. Ko ya ngai sobara kina no na vi budi ko na itoki ni budi. Kito ngunu mele ni to kai na a budi tu ve andona ma do ni gliu. Tau na uda la ko mai na do bui. Bulutana no na budi na vi botu ya sa ki tu mindanda bitokin. Au nangai barata tale bikum ni ko nangona eta kina na jeti mengarani ko na turan chapani batendo ngone bulelo la tia ya takana mbulu batana bonu ya mengeli tiko iliu na misini ko mengai tukia na nduru ni wapu werna itoke ni anu sa marau to sarni sa tiu tunon rawabu ersega ni rida ko na kai na ribu ni takatakan ko na lo mani waitui. Ni rida na dona manu to kasare sa nangoyo. Dona basua. Koe sa mbale, vakambamba, it has to go over on its side. Otherwise, it would have suffocated from the sediments from that road construction that I showed you in the earlier picture. Okay? So these are just, again, additions to the problems that we now face because of the kind of lives that we are being asked to live or are forced to live in rural areas. Erosion, and it's going to worsen. There's sea walls where they have been built, but sea walls are never permanent. They last 20 years or thereabout. After that, either you replace them or you live with the remnants. We've heard of ghost fishing. We always hear about this for the open ocean, but it also happens inshore because fishermen and fisherwomen, they carelessly discard of their unused nets, the discarded nets. Na matanggali lawa sa atu ni ko ay nasa ni wenru ba raw. They are non-biodegradable, in fact. If you throw them into the river, eventually it will end up in the sea, and it will continue to catch fish. That's okay, that's its job, just like the paddle. But this one, no owner. So the catch will be wasted. Mikakunin daw kolotaki wai na lawa makawa, balatin nyo ko na tumanatinga na baka mateika, yan na lang ka nga, sininto na lay baka nga taga na ika, batin sinto na kanito kay menalay rida na lawa na kanangauna. Saan dola tali na bultagin indri, so na itampan indri ko sa komunitu sa watu ya na kanalilo, baka nga, suposo te via elisarto kay na baka nga doon na tsikini watu. Kona nandri ya, ko ito doon may bangko. Ya saan dola tali na lewan matentu, onu itakan ni ramaro takan na ito kaya ninggol-ninggol na kaya na rawatamay yan isang kayo isong mandangay na bitanga na bulay din to sa totolo baka sabi sa umi sa totolo dagay na nonrangon ni balubini na nandri sa ramot to telengoy na ono na bula sa santol. Oi dona turang na tuneta panan din turu tuya go itui enandua na patu ni mbulu-mbulu. Nanonda vikoro kimamina tu yan sonangona sona na imbulu-mbulu tu yan ibini ubole kay matasawa sa toso tinga may naway sa kanya na matasawa na ito kinimbulu-mbulu ya sa nandaw sili to baka ruwa na sona singa nangona kay de wole bukin naway. Oya nga na nungu takataka ngombate unga sinibuli. Wanga sinibuli na QBS, pati Maris, ni sembar nung kila ko na university. Kung kuta buli nga na pingon na kaya ngalalaki na may na university, ulis di ko bira may nakor. Meron ba ukila so na raramalalay, usama ibuli din na nung asat. Doon nung kuta na viva buli, kapang ko bira na bikor, ngo singa nimbosi ni turanga. Au kaya merlaw may na marama. 5% na turanga, 5% na marama. Rusa bulu kalima na 5 ya mera turanga uambula rusa bulu kalima mera ngonya lewa serra torobo me bata mera kente ko nataka ni kor ke baka itu tunga birna non de lilu na non damat ngai sanga ni bina na non rapa bonde o ki birna le ni bonwa e nakakasati ko ngana tos na itukutuku ngo me wase bakararamba. Talking about village organization, we need to make sure that they work, that those that go to attend meetings, they go back and report what they have learned and shared at those meetings with the communities. Not just the men, but men, ladies, youth, even children. They will live here after us. Kung nakatakuta ko may nga ubida na bakya, mbubakarua na nagutara na ito bini research at the university ni Debo. Kaya vida na bagsaw ti biaro sa ronong dulu tin kawalu nga na ba dindik ninda takapati nga bira na nonda miraw kinana ambulator dak na iba kan din kan ni kau kai woli. So my job is basically to create options for people, to give them ideas, that in the hope they will get the ideas, be somehow moved in order to do something. Because for me, just coming to the training is not enough. We need to go to the training, get the ideas, and do something. Me dhaka na kain dakila. Na kanga ke vai ya butaki tu na kilabo banua ni pakanga takati ko merenrengai reidanga uira na lago tu rasombe karaba titinga ko yang antini tiko na kaya na stylia ko sernga na kami sana takabango indala ko tungo sana rani tu ni baka indala ko tu na buto na pakasanga na viva tor taki alo matua sa bangare itu ngango so na rara mo ko ni na rani bakara ita ko mai na takabatu na bika kedengo merani tangai ambi utawata kebe ngai wasie ni me baka titi ya do sarabir na ngone buli na teitir endondo no me batu ya bateni irango erna ngai kende susumiti kumai sembala bunanga una merna tiku ina nonon de ve intelania to ya sa sona vitiri sa kali lebutok ko to na tambay na sanaira sa utimbango sabi bia na parite galo nga salon ko me bagan dinendina ni kasa dak sianga ni kadi vitala no nga na vitala nongo kanangau na tikumena koro kana bono tikina na wabu na crossing ang kitora ni ratu na mara mensasenga naika kasar ngo untuk kila ni sono punitiri ndo tiko itai tai ni uduai na koro tiko sanang iyo kiba mita buta mbale tai ba ososo ina lawa na kana lawa mbalap ba ososo me ta bule vie oi ke bangor yang datu nang yatun jinai lekanai bateni lekanai tiko mai kina na vi ndong lebu ingau na the mangrove patch is some village away and when I heard from the ladies that they used to uproot the mangrove that were next to our river, which happens to be one of the biggest in the island, they told me that they uprooted them because they are obstacles to their long net kind of fishing. So they took away the very source of fish congregation in that area. But look, that was when it started. That was the picture in the middle is when it was about 2 to 3 years old. It takes a long time to take off. And then that is the picture with the boat, the university boat. That was after it had survived its first hurricane. I cannot be lying to you because if you see over here, there's a crossing built by government. At the far end, this thing died after about 20 years. This crossing was taken away by a flood. So we went back to Naikaukawa new. Kwana tamba toka na nirita na busoni kauda kawa ni Kaukawa. Sakala satu na veitir. Wiramena koro mantanga rasini kilati kona thaka na veitiri apa na veinuku. Ningereda na mateni tamba na imbulimbuli ni nuku na ngona ya. Vya chini na mbaki muri 10 years later. The mangrove has accumulated that much land in terms of sand. Ngai vida tala na bagi kimur via lima tala sa ratulak tala na matin tu militara na isusomi ni wawia. Kona kena kau to kaya sa arusa sota na vanua na kau mai vanua ke na kau mai wai. So about 10 years after the planting, the mangrove and the terrestrial forests have now come together. I'll show you later the picture from December of 2021. This is what I've convinced the people to do. So in this settlement, this side, I asked them, it's a rocky shore, and they're suffering from coastal erosion. I told them, instead of the moka, kari tuwa batu ya. Ongi kapang konta pangaranga iwai mero ni irusotanga pati kina uduna batu ko to ni salenia ngai membiungando na PSG loma me dur ni wanga to vamba batu taka. Membiu tuka ni iwai. Baleta me pakanga na vakau endo to di iwai na uolele me saka sere mai ka. Mengai ko tungana no ni dolo nuku me le sevura kati matasao. But okanga mbuli nuku tuko sino kanta to. So that was a design that, well, I was actually doing trial and error with my people. I told them what to do based on what little I know. So I told them, let's do the kind of structure that they call in Fijian moka, the fish stone walls made of stone fence. Okay? So it catches fish when the tide comes in with the fish, and then they are tricked into staying on the shore while the tide ebbs. And so then they realize, when their senses return, and they realize, hey, the water has gone out. They are already trapped inside. But in this case, we have the opening so that the boats can go in and out. The picture on the other side is the coast about 5 years ago. No, more, even more. The guy that I had shown you earlier, we came from the university together, o lewe kami na kile Mr. Keteda, o kouti Mr. Keteda, wa tena turanga ni walangingo, I ngau me le rau reida. Au ngai le sumai, o satu sa ntono pono mo Europe, sa kai no Mr. Keteda, hey, sa tingo no muni tikite, sa le sunga mengo me dorme ngol sa mate pono mbalabu. Eta me le daka. O sali barita labi ko ngai ko takina. Sianga alu na garatu tau me dorme ko saranga me le tukuni virika. Au ngai ka pa ngobi kwa kimundo ili butu kimundo na tamata buku nguri kitu singi batu bole tu madame ka kwa nanu muni tikite sato ya na tini singo ko me dor sango sarki le pono mbalabu. Au tukuna tiko sea walls don't last. Ngoi matani nungu koro na sana iwai. Sa tigu basukai ni na ua mbani ua na wai. Matani sa utingo na ngairo sa ulan bagi sa tigu kakaboro-boro. Au tukuna vera ka. Minta taka pambata na olo na kakede atu ike. Kwango sinira ni sana mbiutu nta sanro. Papo ke sa pale maka minta sanga imbito pakantua. So we had to but we are now planting mangroves to help the seawall, and are planting trees on land. Miti baka levu nakau weekenda na tui matasa, umbala te membo rurungu kina na nona idolodola na waitui, na rangi, ni kutamui waitui, na tana kapa. Ngonga na sona kai taka iwai, ke baka ni se senga tua ni bambauta, ngau kere. Na Vakatabu e mana. Tona mono Vakatabu I waitui, kaunge kitonge le kere mai sona pasua mai moturi mai makangai. Ni rida ni se ke vinaka na matamuni ni sarin rida ko na lupe na rasatuya. Ko ni tambaira. Tina na ngai ndua senga avia tolumbek. Tina ranga ya nakala lai sarata taso bangango tanger. If overfishing is a problem, what's the best solution? Reduce the effort. Wale leita kina kena pakai ngataki. Kwasarna na tambu. Ken karua na tambu esa kaninga ibuli tu mena university. Na tambu anon rasuli na tukanda weekend. Ata pona kami nda hanga mi bati tinga takatiku kina. Ya kanirarawa ni so weekend ko rasa ba indini tagiti ko mena sotale na inaki. Uirongko sako to tiku mena siya niyanga. This is a customary practice, tambu. Our elders knew if there is overfishing or if we are preparing for a big feast, you got to prepare for it. Declare a tambu for a period of time. But today it's being questioned by some of our very own. They are being influenced by other interests to sell. Yeah? So when the tambu is there, it's a better resource for them. So it's very selfish in a way. But that's what is happening in Fiji today. We created this inshore form of fish aggregation device. I had a lot of assistance from my Japanese colleagues that I had working for us at the university at the time. So we just weave these structures, have one of those floaters that are used for long line to help the thing stand up. And then after about 2 weeks, the algae begin to grow. And when you have the algae, then you'll attract the grazers and then the predators after that. Hara vikunga ni va idamba. Liu mandanga na lumilumi mitumburawa, arangela kwa nyo ira merakana lumilumi, arangela kwa nyo ira merakanira na kana lumilumi. Sa lakunga ni bango na ito ni fish aggregation device, lai kelenga tutakaton na kana maka, me kele kina kwa sanga imi balatonga ini non na siwa ya kan rawa ya sotale vira na nunu era le da ka sora va da musuka sarna wami o ambe non ra da vika va ya sa edo tino non da vitin kwa ena korobione mai ngau na koroni mari ka bunimbaka erto da ka bikina dona enclosure to kaya dona mbai ndilo mana nandri ira kita ngana ka lo reina non tu ndelani bibutia ko la tu ambu rambo ile butok na ya talano ni mon go o ira randu kambura ka ngana non reloka na wainga na ngai ko te merusota ndona kan katangani ndona kan kaileo mengai rokina na lubea ni ramai mbiu watavango roro talangana va lubeni roro talangana kena kilai ko be sa size mengai kau ina market na lenga sa ta tuni kuwa ndapa tatambutu bana mbaki ngoni sakini kino bango ndola ta mani vito di medo ina na fatata ya dina ngona seni vakatabu ke vakame sakina gindola yang kira baka salata gina nonda vi korkor me lein tomi mai baka almatua na ka satu me tomi watau ina size watau na kena lebu ni kai vinakati na kena bo mbiutu yani na manu ngo isin ren rome na no mingoli ki vindotal ina tiko boli ngai kya ke baka nga sa eli tal ngai kya ya sa eli to ko sar ngai na no buntu tin golingol e rasa ndo ngule da bina marama batani rango ndo non rutuna bimbi ni ka ke ngai na non da bibu vale ke sa tiko nga na buru ni kenda erna mara una non da marama arto pektaki te to ni kau lebih na yasi sa vakatu metei long term source of livelihood in times to come dona korongo arto gebe tugona biu na leoni youth sa o tiru so lamba ki sanga tunon rto stoa auronga veina mateni singa nonda cooperanduri nga merndabo ka ko sutini da ba kambe na matagali ndapa makatiki kan tasartunga kami tasangga ibu wel takut mekanilas siya nga santuan na varete kita ortongo santu sonango nongge bisu kani hartu tukuna bio nangoni i nganji ndo ngai posam dala bir tuna turungan di banua sampai ile bunda kartu papunto katiko pana stoa mindo na wong ngabango ni koro le to rimanda mai sora kana stoa inda kila bina kasartu siya nindo e bio kani batagi na kartu ni stoa atapa nga ai labonga sinna ko weni ga non toru bibungoni se non toru vitambui nai labonga mesuli ngai nai labong batana ka ngai nangeli ko li sumai iko telenga mai nai labo o to kini sto na sinre ker bi rena wholesale sa tungo o soli ko na lolo man ka mai na kor mai so tele mandeni ke sini rawa nambai tongo ko nga nambai ngani nindri ko ta tiga farita ko na turbuya ko na kena size sa lebu na bunongo sa sintukina na palililai me ka ko ni banga te kina na wai to so tiau na kangu na maramuna ro tindiketi na sona bonua to bata ke baka sana le mol muna la ko ni wai wara o na mateni ngono ro ngata kina na itutuni banga te ni kangu ta tala nove o mai bunisino o pita o kere pita saragi rongo le ngau le tarato ko bikito ya me bare te kivira mai ngau ni raw ni taka na valililai tuto bata saragi na kasil ya sanga ni bakanga te kinawai tarai tak ngai ang batang ngone buno tutubat tarai tak na buloka ya mere ni mainda kuna embiu ngamai kina ko irna wili bin lele botingo ka plastik ko ngai ambiu mai kya song sa ko seranga na buno sanga tali la ko nambio nuginangele sai kianga na ngona ngasina kina angai ko mai tumba bia na kani ka ruame kani susomi ngai leiva mate tu ko ya me ta ambiu na ngona ba te kina ba balilai vi ngono to ba te kina vina ka membiu to kini sonan ni do se kona kamera ni vi wakibata mi to tolo kina na kena luda na nambenu ya sini ba ngata kina wai eu basanga tingo na bono taka patingo mengau mena baya tona ngono ubi talno ubi tokan to patikan tona company go isong isupango undo ko to tigo ginga una solar lights at the discount price na nakangani bakasanga sangani bakangata kina na bakaliu nambuka atoka me adana tula smokeless stove ya nambuka ketenga tukuna kena kumbo e kongora pa tana tu me smokeless stove ya nakena bakasa mambo ya binakatok ni maroroinga nambuka e singani lebu nakena yali na kata e le kina nambuka e baka nakau e bakangata ki me wangati kina nambuka dona korongo lekanai nondar to lewa baka vanua na nondar to wolo ni vanua me na vale tunga baka viti batar to binakata me rando vulitiko kina na dorobo kina leoni koro me kakuni na elivira na kilani taravale baka viti nondra kasi eu dona kana na daka betiko ngongo au ngai nungu daka tiko na kau sibu vira na vike muni na to kini ngoli na le kere me daka na bakandindike na veno ndabi wasasa na ngona daka tiki na soko abukitiviti au ngai matalau nyuri da mai nandronga tu binaka tu kena na bimburi sando na kare ribina kasanga biau au nanu mati umendo na kamena tobole mena taka ina puno tu kina mena ndo na ngumburi kona maramani rawe e nungule ni vale tiko e nangongo e tiko voli mai ngau e no na nganganda tela me ni rubole ngami na kor me vale bokaviti sa mara ulo sartok ia na bitoka ni ngapa teke na kampanye kina sona university mai chavani usapa ngata katuna nungu vikilai virana urkilaira ko mera pakaya wa ila butaka mai na sasanga so vira ke mila sartu mengo ngau ralei fantaka na agricultural show me paka bulum-bulum tiki na vakasama ni sasanga me raw na ilavo mai na kainda rawata na ka ni linga apaka kina na nonda itei kene o teo tingango mai na vika ke desarea ke na sona ka e muskina na ulungu balete ni sengani daga babinaka ko ngali utagati ko kania ke dea usaki latu sanga umbulia kina ko na bakana nungo mesa membiu bata indo na indusi me babur baka sabi ke muni na vika rinda takaba ke baka anda sanga na vika la baka torda kitaki yalo matua ko na vitiri ko talno tati me ke muni lua ba men ke tiki bu me tabango ya ina sani nungu kor ko ngo na ngunango ko na tamba to ngo iliu via rosa nga bulu wada dana mbak sauti si via wala katsan bagana tul sanga bulu na koro watanga kwa tungo ina tambalelai se sanga kina nindo na kai tino mata sawaya se na mata ni koro na olo ni koro se ndota ni tunga ni rirai ya ina tisi amba na mbak sauti au se tiko bulu mai samo au lockdown tu ni covid mai samo au wale liuta katuna korbuli ni agriculture mai ala fua sa kiri yo ani ndona marama mi baranse iba wili kanga na kaundu babolatu balata na kausangati mengau ka ko taka ba ndona company contract ko na UN mi mai son na video mi bakanga tagi kina na VR technology Professor Kabini and VR technology virtual reality have you apparently the essential to go na kena matangali konto na kabo ni chapa ni da sona kona lengango sa ni na rede sosial ko tumai sa pakarapa sa marini tumai lo mani taun era lo tiko ina kai randarabuli but that's the kind of that's the modern technology that this video was produced for. I have a copy of the video but I did not have the time to upload it. You're more than welcome to ask for it if because there is now a video version. That VR technology was launched at the United Nations headquarters to the Australian Embassy and the Fijian Embassy, and then was shown to those embassies, but was taken to the World Ocean Conference in Portugal or Spain, one of those two countries, the year before. And then was modified to video, normal video, to be shown at COP27 in Cairo. So it shows of what is going on in Narikoso in Kandau. Narikoso kana matini koro atoki. So ngona na vital no maingau, wate ke nandona koro sa sintura na may ra. Po kali letonga kala leka tinga 5 miniti. Po so na kabi na to kini riri na sar na ituba kini tamba. Yara na ipakarita kingona ni kana raw ni bisau na rai. Yesiti ko talaga ng bolen-bolen doon nga me se tomaniti ko nga nasasang. Ko nga so na kona tikini bonua tiku kina mai ngau nikua ko na ito toluna ko tamba to kaidaki arto sile so na kito ndo na mobile sawmill Lucas me musunga kina na kawete paini se new mengi nonra kanivale se kava matana vao ini matitaki ni ka usara hotel tunga mai ngau nikua wateki ndo na ito tractor wateki na kena vale tiko ya na tractor ngungelele sumai Samoa wateki na raramani kani titi ungeliri kilama ikia usaka berto ngo saka ngani ndre trailer saka kuni nangi daka na CVR bate tukuni mai kia ninga una daka kina na CVR Vakatabu na soil profile. The use of plow disturbs the soil profile. So that's why before you plant the next crop, you have to put in the fertilizer and get everything in. It has become an artificial form of farming. So after coming back from Samoa and learning that lesson, I've told my son, no more of plowing. We just use the digging stick that we learned from our parents. And when we look at it, there's a lot of wisdom in our traditional customary farming practices. We have mixed cropping. We have a system to allow the land to recover that we heard from Professor, the head of PTC, all in there. So why do we, this generation, want to discard of that and take a system where we have to pay for everything? Pay for the manure, pay for the pesticide, because they can no longer work on themselves independently. I've changed that shed because I now live there. So I want to put up a bit of a wall, but according to the villages, I don't have the money. That's why I've reverted to bamboo. I said, yeah, I have no money. But I want to show them that there can still be options rather than having corrugated iron. Because it's hot and the temperature is going to get hotter. Why can't we use stuff from the environment? Nangono sa ating bumborokina, irsakatal, hey, sarili na kay. I use the Japanese technology of sliding doors. So those walls are actually sliding, so they can move. If we want it all out again, we can take it out in an orderly way. And this is what I left behind in Samoa. I spent 2 years in Samoa, and it was in Samoa that I decided, I think USP has had enough of me. I should now go back to my people. I've done enough training of young people aspiring to get out into the world. Now my responsibility is to return to my people and do what little I can before my time is up. So these are sandalwood trees in Samoa campus, Alafua. I left behind about 1,000 sandalwood trees. For me, because I was in charge of the campus, I wanted to reduce the mowing costs. So I said to them, well, today it's a flower. Tomorrow maybe it will be a source of shade. Eventually, when you decide, you can harvest this and use it as a source of income for the campus. I talked to you about rehabilitating the river in Malawai, in Ngau. This is rehabilitation of this river in Samoa. When I went over there, all this was just piles of secondary growth with the invasive wainivalangi dominating the place. I decided to plant native trees because the Ministry of Forests in Samoa was giving out the seedlings for free. And I was so happy. Then COVID came, the university was closed for about 6 weeks. I think those in Suva might remember better. But that time, the Tongan students came and helped. We cleared 8 acres of invasive species covered land on that piece of campus land and planted it with native hardwood trees. But then the flood came in 2020, beginning of 2020. All these native trees close to the river, mangled up, broken, uprooted. Then I remembered those ivy trees back in Ngau. So I was fortunate. I went to the other side of the island to a resort and saw ivy trees. When I checked in, I said to the people at the hotel, I have a request. I would like to pick those things if you allow me. I know they sell them in Samoa for money, but they were very receptive to my idea. So I collected about 60 of those trees, and the other ones growing now next to the river in Samoa, in Alafua. I left behind, I think, about 60 trees that are alive. So those are the kinds of, those big tall trees are all those native hardwood trees. Samoa is a very fertile country. By the time I left, after 2 years of planting the sandalwood, for some of them I was no longer tall enough to do the pruning. So these are the native trees, but the sandalwood, I've planted them in the areas that is enclosed. And then to continue to do the advocating, I gave some of the seedlings to some of the workers. I said, do you live on your own land? Yes. Would you like some sandalwood? What for? Well, plant it for your children. Most of the Samoans did not know of the value of this tree then. But guess who was doing who was taking advantage of the gift given freely by the forestry? It was all these business, these Asian-owned business companies. So I've written some things for those that are interested in the ideas. You can source those. They are online. Because that basically is my role. I can't do the same kind of thing I'm doing to you now all over Fiji or where it is needed. But the hope is that by sharing things like this, we can help create this transformative change we all know we need to do. At the moment, I am with this organization is currently conducting Fiji's first national fisheries assessment nationwide. So they asked me to join them, and that's where I am at the moment. I just wanted to show that what they are doing is something we really need in order to continue and articulate those kind of ideas that I was talking about there. Basically, they want to take advantage of all of these goals by ensuring that we, the owners of the resources, have the data, have the information about the conditions of our fishing grounds and the resources in order to make the decisions that need to be taken. I would not go into those. I think you know the relevance, but the point is that from the past, today, and in times to come, Fiji and the Pacific Islands, because we are islands, will always rely on a healthy ocean. If it is not healthy, well, our children will be the ones that suffer. For the Blue Prosperity Fiji, the aim is to boost decision-making by providing support through national marine spatial planning. It's just a systematic way of assessing layers of information, so that, which often is a bit too hard for our human brains, and then tell us what the options are that is best for us. Blue economy, every kind of income earning activity that is reliant on the use of the ocean. So it includes fishing, mariculture, maybe tourism, just having tours to get all the people that come to your village, go on a tour, to appreciate the wonderful part of the world that we own. By the way, I mentioned that phrase from the beginning. That actually is a kind of a chop suey version of a very nice sentence that Professor Uofa used to share and promote. And lastly, sustainable fisheries. O kenda sakana nonda vivu vale, elevunga na ngona nikana, enda vararavi na sasalu, me idoi ni ndalo, ni ubi, ni uto, menda nanda una numatiku, ni kavangondo na vosa proverb va China, na ngona nda sava matekina na yototi ni kau, nda va kania na yototi ni manumanu, sana ngai kilana tamata, ni sianga ni rao ni kania na ilavu. Sana ngai imbini tu na ilavu. Kwa vika mdina sarida na those of you that have watched Titanic, I know it's aged. I mean, but you know, this guy had a lot of money, but the boat is sinking. Money is of no use, not anymore, or not then. So, me maroroi tiko na nanda ngoli se tu mai udhiwai, se tu matasawa, it has to be protected because it is critical for our own livelihoods. Ngokila taltinga kami na kangu mai nondo to viti tiko na udhiwai ninduna le bakasudhiwai tui bakasudhiwai tui nanduna ke bakaenda sana taka sobana no nei lako me taratungana na kalbot vaya kona if through our activities we interfere with the connection between the ridge and the reef, living things like naman mo turango na nanduna oko ele basudu kinakenge vio ni bola kasara ni Samoa no no titombuna tini oituia rele basudu kina sanga isa sanga lifta le mai me mai viduru ke take na nonda vi udhiwai me maroroiti ko na udhiwai mai dake ira kidake ko sanga ko na ngitavi me usangati ko nga me ata sarambanga ni usana sinren lako me pakawasiti ko ni naitutuku ni nonda itavi na itamba ni kua me nda doka na kitakira na luvenda e na ngauna davanga e na ngai susumita ki kenda kina e na vivo no tambu e na tau kena tu ngosanga na tikinga ni kere ki tu wawabu ki tu kina no nondo viti kere ti ko na viva ka ndonu ibi kemuni na tau keni ngoli ndina ni sa tu lawa ni lawa na matani tu na ngoli menon ia kenda kila ke tunga nangele e ti ko na kena tau ke e na nonda i tubo na itaukei. Kere la mini suleta la vio vidana miniti. Na rombeka. Era ni play. Ko sagala na Vakatabu ni nungu itukutuku. Na itala noa ni nungu manuman. Nina posotanga o kere to la mai wana YouTube. Ya o kere wala ambale te sama le kasra viau. Matai na wakai tiko kina e langa te kitu vakasere. Matana vuli me vakai na ke na via sana ke denga rin rokin na meke na sere na vudu na nroini. We have to promote the idea whatever the means. Yesterday Professor Sanga talked to us about some very deep thoughts, but in a form of a story. This is a song. I hope the thing comes out. or maybe it's shy. This bird is a seabird, but it breeds in the hills of Ngau. Not in nests, but in burrows. Not in straightforward burrows like that of a crab or a land crab. This one is a bit more sophisticated. It actually has layers. So it gets in and then up and then like create rooms. A seabird that flies only in the night, and it lives in the mountains of Ngau during breeding time, and the female will always return to the burrow to lay its eggs and get its the chicks. Can't. Oh, yeah. It still is loading, so you allow me to just go to the conclusion, or you want to wait? Sini sono taruh, sesuai beto mana? Iya, nak matagal.
Ya una kamu ni beri ko pamatala ona pamatala ni au be kemuni rauliu. Ya dango te visi na sese. Matere tiki na toka e malo. Oni pamatala oni na buni ni mbala no muni koro. Ni vole hina ni kani waituye. Au aro no kamu no ngomura mo ko e malo. Libuna no ko koro. Zaka na waulu bo e daulu bo koro. E parre baksara. Na zabar ni zaka. Porque me una coisa como mais zaka. Me kuni a me aro bina no ni walu. Kulunga ni so ngone a wasinga. Ya zaka ba mbongi. To kai tali ba sa ma era.
Turgiri vital no.
Bada mada?
Karin turgiri vital no kin.
Oi sa don bina walu.
Sabinak.
Kana ko ruwa mata. Kana roma no misinya. Kani baru ni kau kena tekta to boleh mai bai labos de você não arba dono é cam
Dono
mat
o sinkila i kembe ka wa rongo da kina se do tental la bonua tukuni bango ki baka anda sabi na katendo na kami daka dataka taka pamandanga mera rei do irana bara rei tu na tapasano anda rote na nondaingu ko ana ya sanangai roni wa ungiti ko irna pili nonto pili sile sirawa bu tungo rawa rai di kenta tu saya pala tiko pasangati ko me sona kai rawa ena roni ya kito ya taka to ngana ko na ndona bi kan ni balabu usa bi rosanga bulu nuku bi kan tu pateki sona be korni wuli lele bu mai chavani mai korea sarngai de chungona na ka tuntu sangati ngai vai te au volati ko na kendra tuku Intor kapital nokin. Iseng oka ngona ni sapa tokoro ni sa tokoro ba naka ni sa sangakina. Saran ki utngan do mena keni volo na mateni tutelam ka kuntunguler. Mati mundangan ni volo melo sumbu na kena ngoni salaya. Ko na kena ko antor ki ni vital lota pa vinaka daki. Iya. Mika iyo batana matagli misini ba sa bun ren jin sartonga na sangai. Rani data kabango me vida batara me va ke kalile na koro ya rani do to na tikina se ndorna mingi batu ka merni mendari relief indombe ka mitu kuno tikento na kai na singa ndo vir rono singa sauti itu kuno tikina bango ni saru ilela ina bunor tu ban o isinga me ndo tembe na bosi e leilei na vunua ratu pasangati ko me kina na Vakatabu me tauri kona kani carbon trading e leilei na vunua ratu hange vina kati ratu ya me vali puta ki me ringa taka kina na sasang ia ke vea na ngai raunga na via rara ma ke baka minta sa ta butu manda nda te bu ba pambutu kana paduru mana be buni boy ba vali bola rani rara kina na isau ni nonda Vatataru.
Usa mata ina wali bunu muni ba matala dua sakana wotalita kanu muni ba matala na bukuni bika ngan rebi be ba sukai kina na bika ndangan repa ye ndona kaya do tiko nda topole menda tosani na bunongori menda ba sukai kianda menda rawata na bika ndau ndibitu kina nda bonua ndo tal nesana na matani tu saranga ya pakalenga ikenda tiku o toro manda kena waritaki o kito mo bana waindina eu me nanda kuni ngau na saranga ngo to vitalo tikina na taki ngere na ambatini udi waindina e tolu na turanga to taki ngere tiku ve kito mai nanda kuni na sovi riba na nito batini wai liwar nda ungolinga na marama yung batini wai sabu nga may na dhora sa angoli ngaw na nikua sapa ka to kambaka na nang balabu ni bunongo na bono batini wai bim batini wai sa rabu singa na wai sa mama na wai nda tikongo na ndo na puli menda kilaki na nabika anda ngandra menda pasuka ikenda kina menda rawata na sautu iyo ndo talne sana o yetu ni tiona maten tuwe bi bakalenga ti kumbalta na ilamu i bisa kana bonu enda tiko kina au taro sakati bina kwaliu
isa okay usa pandin ta saranga na lenga na itutungori aluringo minabua ndo samu takamai na mea na vida na mbake niliu enta nakambika sarin dana takapa minta sa loma batanga me sa tukuni tunga ni kina matentu kima misa pakilana ribu ni desana iliumbe ka sera rona bi bakandoni bateni sintu ko na barite kita anda sari da tungo go sa anda rida tuna kana ribu ni sang suti binaka santun tun mena ko ka sar nando monta sabi nakatelangan sabi sa una ng tamantin tundan witakan ni nangay rodi kanda value o atu na don boss yata ka na tambatata ito okay ministry na ito ki ni umbula na matagali tutung saranga bangor e ato kina e parite gitu kina na matai sanda sinikilatu ni ito okay o de matatagi kanda tuko na vi talano ni matentu o kenda sanda ngai ninda tiko ina vanua sanga inonda tuna kana lenga na libu nangau na saya do na lenga mato o kwale talange ingere o na matani tu e rasini tiko ika o kenda tiko ika ko ya menanda umbimbi tiko nakanganda sarana na takaba me sa wasumanga na kana tukun tiko na bose ke denga bose ni tikina kina sana laku ke pakaira na sota pategir na ministan dir lakuan iya ko saranga sarli biten teni tunggu dak sakere me sato sar mandanon datu ngari ni vital no itumbo matagali iyo kere lamo ni kiro matanga pa lilay na italano ni monmon ke kaya pala rano misini apa kaya saman dua tu kana lo itumbo
Niang
na paningana e pana panindonggal. For those of you that did not get the thing, that is my totem bird, the kadauningau. It lives in the sea, has web feet, but by the magic of nature, it resides in, or it goes and breeds in the forests of the island. So nakere-kere ngango, ni sa bawa masuti na nonda turang bali, maram bali. Kente ke desar. Sa ngunungo rara malalain da sa raida sa kila sa kenangauna me menda takatakatak. Au wa retakat ngabi kemuni kona bono e muskina na ulungu sa totolo sarigina na nungu skoa na nungu pasangatu na rara malalai ombo kila mera kila talengana leoni nungu enyan. Ya songa na nunda ipos-pos me ndapakasa matakabuli amataingana. These are some idioms from like for Fijian idioms. The first one, kunikune na lokan indilio. Basically, it's like looking for a bird's egg, and because the bird is migrational, it goes all the way to Siberia. Naman dilio, ilaiwa sutu sare Russia. Kaya sanga gina na kenelo kaya na vienya nulala ito do ko tu yono no David. Isindo vir na lokaya no nandilio. Kaya sa ngun no lubea angay tambak kata na bukai sana. Kira kana tungguri Albert Park sa ngun nilako arba buliang opalilay pakarto sa takapitungko na timinibit. Arangay takapana bukai na raka na kenanda unanda buko tu ilong manimadawa ni tu idaka ando na streams romani maliolala pakakine romani wasaliwa nge vibu kena nonra isabu na nonri lala kondra sali le sumai rangai pasangami na kedi wale mera lestel mekina nasasanga ko sakeri kay mnitu ni kinang komenta po itabikina singa sutini na karora ya napakati ko na pangarana na loka ni kadau. E na rau ni rawa, ke waka ngā inda sandinata saranga, da waka samata wabina sarna kene wale. Me biuki na waka matau virna nonda me renreting goma. Sinran dana da kapata undua. Lebu na kau barita wiki muniani rata kapatu mai ngau. Oia ununguita vinga na wa usora me wanga na kena mbuka. Sa kena takata kirangai takapauira. Kena karuanga induanga na singani dolangele. O kenda enda sai lesi mena nonda tuivi ndeleni apu tambu. Ena ngunango menda nangai wakaitavi. Ena kena sangai me takataki na vika enda kilatu nindoni me dhaka me vinaka kina na nonda vi ndeleni apu ena vi singani mataka. Kia sana manin rendre sarana ila kolako. Miti ko wikenda na imbolengon na tanto runga to pakamba soma virtu na mani buli mai ndelai na kai mentandui matenga ena no tandui utini batu. Oia usa rautia una papina bina wale bui mbermbasanga nungu maitu wambala bui suwa. Usa sangati ngo mo usa lesuki na kor. Nungu ile kadibi usa ati umaikia. Ngalobo wana moka rakila tuna nondangasi ke paka indu sio melako ina wole se wole to melako ina moka andro naik mena tuwai sarava mata una na sasanga angai takata na kena ngauna me donu kina me rauna ka me mana me kakua ni tangai paka ise setu ni saya lina nonda vikau sa tiga bu me ali na tiki ni nonda yombula na nonda viudiwai ni anda sianga ni bakarau te kenda pa binak baleta ko tukuna tikumena kena tiga bu na bakatau lewa enda tau dani kua ngai nondra na makumbunda na kena binaka kena va kena utioti ndaka ko ni sireta ka wali buna kanda sa bakataka au ka mai ngau pona kana musini ulungku ile busor la mi pango mi tal no tang go la ni pango na koro senga tundo na kai tu me taka lo taka baku koa sa ndarawata na kai nda binakata sangai tangina kena ndabui ubun ndabui ngirna kena lali minda marautak iyo nama nangonongo ndare vetu na we seeing it in the television a lot of parts of the world to the north are in flames, in floods. Climate change is here. It has been here for a while now. So nakasarere bagitu nangonongo that our reefs will bleach. Sa kata-kata sivia na wai sarana sini raw ni mbula na kambula ko rata rabaliti ko na takau kanta kilatungo andala kan pango sa bulo tundo na takau ana ibarita kini sa ro sa mate o kenitoki ke baka anta saka pa ko ime ta berni ta kame na iwolingan ni kami ko tin kina kata-kata sa takau tungo na buru ya mendo na talina tangilamba ko ibe na binaralaki rauda ro saranga na option ya kona ka tukuni tukena na kena mbimbi na vikai tu enda kilani tu na ken reanga kongo me sati bu marro ini kwa ka kun dangai vai se sataka ni sata soboti na sudu batani kena ngona saranga me rada tikina nangona na pulango tukuni tukena kena itu na news sengai pula kata-kata taundu na lo manindo na rau rosanga bulu na undolu na ambaki na bulango okosita mai Europe. Si senga mandanga ni bulai kata-kata me sa kena na loma ni senga kena tiga butu ani. Na numiti ko ni na it'll get worse. But this month has been the hottest month in over 120,000 years. The conditions are getting from bad to worse. So it's up to us how we react to that. The bigger challenge is that it may even affect the system that we understand today. Nangonango kwareda na bura-bura tigo ya, ia na wai i na lomani wasambula e re tosa tele tunga wakanga na jet stream tuko i takea na stream tele ngā tuko i na wakatu me nrondo tele tusa na udu i lele wilo i lomani wasaliwa kwa na mbata mai na vonua mbata e kau e utake mai vango ki na tiga mantena puna kata-kata e lomandonu kwa na oi kata-kata kia sangai rau ngole ki na vonua mbata e na udu na rua ni sale la kwa ni kia sangai le visau na kena i tuvaki kwa ni tau iriti ko na stream ngo ke baka ni se na udu i levu na lomani wasambula kwa ea e Vakatabu tiku wā na i tūpaki ni nonda kata-kata ka na i tūpaki ni mbula i dhaki ngai tuku ni tiku wango na tupo-tupo ko sapakai sapato tolo teki mai by about 10 years baleta na kena na katamboteni na earthquake mai tonga uni mai tonga because of the Tongan earthquake they think that there's now far too much vapor sa rilevu na wai kata-kata na wai ko e lako mai na wai tuna nguna katamboteki na botoni saulo mai tonga ko na levu ni dawa kata-kata ko embite i take ni lomalang sa le va bunati ko na kena na kapakai na visau na kata-kata ni wai ko na temperature ko sa santa tiku ba kilatingo so na kami kene ba leka ni na lenga na kata-kata na sainto do sa tungo ni na tosa da ketikunga santo don me te ba levu na rala na vivo no me na te vaki te ba levu na vikau me ruba rurungu na levu ngani kauete na levu ni na rurungu na mbunda rawat sa kena ngau nembek me minta sa tiga bu wakasa mata sara waka lomatua na visau ninra ke sangani ka rau e doba tu doko na nonda bura climate change is a global challenge and we need to start making a difference maybe from the ground up kenta ngonda tu kini vanua ratukina na nonda kawa na nonda viwekani sandondonu menda vitau rilingatak na kena sangai me dadakava na kai raun dadakava some of the things we cannot address ourselves it's natural but we should do what we can do that is the plea from me niti ko sakana ngon maramana rutin reketi ti sana ngon turan ti sowa niti ko sakana nonda turanga mbale na tura marama mbale ena nonda viti mainto to kana ngona balabu tau rame dokina nungu itavi kana levu rawata sawat kana levu